So did you know you have really more than one type of credit score? There's FICO, there's Vantage, and each one of those have different versions. FICO has about 10, Vantage has about 4, so it can be very confusing. And how do you know which score version matters? Today we're going to talk about a score that matters quite a bit. It's called FICO 8. FICO 8 is used by most of the credit card companies, so whenever you apply for a credit card, this is typically going to be the score version that they're going to use to determine if you qualify for a credit card. So we're going to unpack FICO 8 plus a lot more on today's episode of the Joe Credit Show. So simply put, with FICO 8, it's basically the 8th version of FICO. Now there are 10 total versions of FICO. We're going to talk about FICO 8. This was actually invented in 2009. So FICO 8 is not anything new. It's been around for a while, over 10 years now. And so it has the core principles of your FICO score, right? So if you go back to just the basics of your FICO score, you have 5 components that make it up. You have 35% is payment history, so how you pay your bills on time, if you pay on time, pay late, etc. 30% is utilization, or also balances. So, how you use your credit cards, you max them out, keep them low, so on and so forth, right? That's 30% of your FICO score. 15% of your FICO score comes from length of credit, right? So the longer you have history, do you close accounts pretty early, or do you keep accounts open for a long period of time? That all matters and ties into your length of history component of your FICO score. Then you have the two 10% categories, 10% being types of credit. Do you mix up your credit? Do you have all credit cards, all loans, all car payments, right? What do you have? If you have a mix of credit, that's actually good for the mix of credit component of your FICO score. And then the last 10% being new credit, or also inquiries. So, a lot of people checking your credit often, or do you have very few? The fewer inquiries you have, the better. This all makes up your FICO score. This is the fundamentals of your FICO score. Now, FICO 8 basically has this, but has some additional add-ons and influencers, if you will, that make the score outcome be a little bit different. Let's talk about that. So what's different about FICO 8? Well, for starters, it reduces the impact that authorized users have on the credit report. It also decreases the impact that you have from a late payment if you don't have frequent late payments. But it does increase the harm to your credit score if you have frequent late payments, meaning multiple late payments. It also will magnify the harm, or the score drop, if you will, if you have high balance credit cards for a long period of time. It also will ignore small balance accounts in collections. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're going to dive into each of one of these components a little bit further. So what exactly is an authorized user? So typically, let's say you had a spouse or a parent who's had an account open for 10 plus years, perfect payment history, low balance, right? This is a very good account. And let's say you're trying to build credit for the first time, or you need to raise your score somewhat. A situation like that would be you would get asked to be added on as an authorized user to that person's account, and all of that history will then be added on to your credit report. So with FICO 8 actually suppresses the amount of points you typically would get under this scenario. So for example, let's say you got added on to someone's authorized user account, the score went up about 50 points because of that new account that just got added on. With FICO 8, maybe your score goes up 30, 40 points, right? So it suppresses it a little bit under FICO 8, and that's how authorized users are treated under this score version. So let's unpack the infrequent and frequent late payment scenario. So let's just say normally you have perfect payment history and you forgot to pay your credit card 1 month. You went past 30 days and you got a 30-day late payment, right? So you had 5 years of perfect payment history and you got 1 month of a bad month, right? It was 30 days behind, you forgot about it. Well, normally your score would go down quite a bit, maybe 40, 50, sometimes 60 points or more. With FICO 8, it doesn't harm your credit as bad, right? They look at it as this is not a frequent event that occurs, and therefore your score should not tank or drop significantly because of it. Now on the reverse, let's say you have multiple late payments, right? This is something that you're frequently late, right? You're on time a couple months and you're late, then you're on time a couple more months and you're late again. So FICO 8 actually will penalize that behavior a little bit more compared to the normal FICO score, right? So that's an influencer that FICO 8 puts on, that if you're habitually late, over a certain period of time, each one of those late payments are going to damage your score a little bit more. And the same thing goes for credit card balances, right? So, typically, let's say you had a credit card of $1,000 credit limit, and your balance floats around $200-300 every single month. So balance is not, terrible, right? And all of a sudden, 1 month, something happens, tire goes, you need new tires, engine goes out, whatever it is, and you need to put that expense on a credit card. And so essentially, you max out that credit card. And this event, right, normally is going to decrease your credit score. Once your balance hits really close to your credit limit, generally it's going to drop your credit score no matter what score model, because this is associated with risk. And with FICO 8, however, the score drop is going to be a little bit more with this scenario. So, again, that same typical scenario, let's say your score goes down normally 30 points, whether it be Vantage scoring or normal FICO scoring. But with FICO 8, maybe your score goes down 35 points or a little bit more, right? Again, this is just generic information. I'm not saying this is actually going to happen to you specifically, but you get the drift. And then lastly, small balance collections are treated a little bit differently under FICO 8. So normally under FICO scoring, you have a collection account, yes or no, your score is going to go down, right? This affects your payment history component of your credit score. But with small balance collection accounts, basically collection accounts that the balance is less than $100, FICO 8 actually will ignore this particular account. So normally that doesn't happen. You can have a $50 medical collection, your FICO score is going to drop. Under FICO 8, however, it'll ignore this collection account, so essentially you don't lose any points when this happens. So in summary, FICO scoring is always evolving, and FICO 8 is predominantly used by credit card companies. Again, you want to watch your payment history and your balances, and if you're not strong with your FICO 8 score, probably don't want to apply for a credit card until you're at that point. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video today. That is my time. If you like this information, give me a thumbs up. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. Tune in next time for the next episode of the Joe Credit Show. I'm Joe Chavarria. See you guys next time.